morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you so, and I hope that you're having a beautiful, super duper wonderful and delicious time wherever you are in the world. Now then, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? So it's 1:05 in the afternoon, my delicious little babies. And Ruby, please, baby. And thank you. Okay, the weather's very grey, and if it's raining. And I'm awfully sorry, my delicious little babies, but I did do a video yesterday, but I'm doing a take 2 today because I feel, there we are, I left it up for as long as, there we are, what I needed to leave it up, there we are, up for. Okay, my delicious little babies, but I'm going to repeat, so it's a take 2, and maybe a little bit mixed around, but do you know what I mean? Anyway, so 3, 2, 1, my juicy little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. So we're down to 2 now. Still at 2. My delicious little baby, still at 2. Right now then, my delicious little babies, so what do I have? So this, my delicious little babies, this is a toe ring. Can you all see that, my delicious little babies? It's a toe ring. Okay. And that is sterling silver. And if you look at the bottom, see, you've got a little stern, and then you've got a little star. You don't have to be a star, baby, to be my show. You don't have to be a star, baby, to be my show. Yeah, my babies. I was having a look, actually. I was having a look for other things, and I came across, little silver toe ring, my delicious little babies. I wonder how many others over the decades, there we are, had toe rings with little stars on them. Jingle, jingle, jingle. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Got to remember the eagle now. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. Na 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 na. What was that? I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize. Yeah, we could say that, my delicious little babies, about some of the alternative media, couldn't we? Now then, so I'm going to leave. So I'm going to, like I said, a take 2. Okay, but that was myself, my delicious little babies, when I was 9-year-old. And that was in Hull, my delicious little babies, and that's the ship that was there. Okay, but if you look, I had a blue jacket and my sister had a red jacket. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes. Even way back then, look at that. Now then, my delicious little babies, what else do I have for you? But I'm not going to open this today, okay, my delicious babies? Like I said, I left my video. There we are, up for long enough for ones to see. Okay, my delicious little babies. Probably not a lot did. Well, to myself, that's not such a bad thing, actually. Maybe it should only go to certain eyes, you know, and certain hearing. There we are. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yes. But this is a Singapore. Look how old it is, my delicious little babies. A Singapore driver's license. Now, this particular driver's license, my delicious little babies, is 1967. 1967. You're gone to heaven. Nah. In this case, not. Okay, thankfully. This is my dear dad's, his driver's license in Singapore, my delicious little baby's car. Yeah, when was it? Yeah, it was October 1967. What does it say? Vehicles in class 3. Yeah. Okay. So I can only assume that you know, if you were driving, you know, you'd have to show your card. Do you know what I mean, Mads? Little babies, yes. Anyway, well, 1967. So where am I? Where am I? Rewind and start again. Where am I? So okay. Yeah. So my dear dad, bless him, would have been 21. Okay, my delicious little baby. So I just thought I'd mention that. Now then, so there's another couple of little photographs, okay? You know, because when you look at Singapore, there we are, it seems that there's been some history, doesn't there, my delicious little babies? Now, the thing is, does anybody ever remember the Michael Jackson song? I cannot get it up to, or I'll have to write it down. Anyway, the one that you're looking for, Mads, little baby, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, is Michael Jackson, history, and then lyrics. But there's one that you'll see which gives, there we are, dates before the song starts, Mads, little babies. Okay, I just thought I'd just leave you with that, okay? So like I said, I'm a little bit you know, mixing things around, you know what I mean? Anyway, my delicious baby. So, while my beautiful dear little, oh, how I love my beautiful dear little nanny and granddad. So, when she was still alive, okay, my delicious babies, because she kept my photographs as a little baby, okay? And while she was still alive, bless her, she, my beautiful dear little Nana Bear, she said, here we are, she says, you can have your photographs back when I was a baby. So there's a one mad delicious little baby's case. If you can look, you know, you can see, and then you can see. Okay, mad delicious little babies, you're probably wondering to yourself, well, what is she pointing to? But you need to look, there we are, so very carefully. And, you know, the thing is that years ago, my delicious little babies, I wasn't really paying any attention whatsoever to my photographs. I wasn't paying any attention like you know, the blue and red and you know, I just never paid any attention to them. No, I never paid any attention at all. Look at that. So there's that one, mad delicious little babies. Now the other one is yeah, and this one here was with my beautiful dear little Nana Bear when she came over to visit. You know, at one of my addresses, my delicious little babies. For some unknown reason, wherever I've lived, I think there's only been a few addresses where it has not had the number 5 in it. But for nearly all the addresses I've ever lived in, my delicious little babies, when I looked back, I thought there's a number 5 in all of them. Apart from, you know, like I said, there's a few. You know what I mean? Mad delicious little babies. I just thought it was really quite strange. Anyway, mad delicious little babies. So this photograph here was myself and my beautiful dear little Nana Bear. Can you see my delicious little babies? Oh, look. She's happy as Larry. But I wasn't looking to happy. It's got nothing to do with you know, my beautiful dear little Nana Bear, because we fell in love, you know, not in that way, not in that way. But as my beautiful dear little Nana Bear used to always say, she used to say, Carla, she said, from the moment the two of us set eyes on each other, she said, we just fell in love. You know, not in that way, not in that way. Do you understand what I mean, okay? And we were like that until my beautiful dear little Nana Bear, how I love her so, and I love my dear little granddad so, until she passed. You know, I was truly blessed to have 41 years with her. Okay, my delicious little babies, and of course she would have still been here if it hadn't been for the things now. Okay, my delicious little babies, like I continuously say, I never forgive and I never forget. But yeah, that one there, but it looks to myself like I never really liked the dolly very much. I wasn't keen on that little dolly. Do you understand what I mean? I had a right fizzog on me when you looked at me birth race, my delish look babies. I wasn't looking very happy at all. Nevertheless, I can honestly say I did look rather sweet on that one, okay? My delicious little babies cat. But it's just amazing, isn't it? But again, if you look at the colours, you got blue and white. And then you got red and white. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? I'm just wondering what's, I don't know, what was, there we are, what was going on maybe, I don't know. Anyway, my delicious little babies, but we'll keep shining that light, shining that light, shining that light. Okay, my delicious little babies now then, yeah. I certainly feel that ones, maybe need to look at Singapore. Okay, my delicious little babies, because they seem to be ever so, well, from the last time I heard my delicious little babies, if you so much as drop a smallest piece of little my delicious little babies, that made there's consequences. There we are, isn't there, my delicious little babies? That's one of the countries, isn't it, that I mentioned, to do with the vapes? No, they're not liking vapes, are they, my delicious little babies, it seems. Anyway, so I've just been listening, actually, my delicious little babies, okay, to it's called Capital F for Freddie, but it is called, okay, so this is the word and the number, Fakeologist 3. Okay, my delicious little babies, Fakeologist 3. Okay, my delicious little babies, and this video is nearly an hour and 10 minutes long, my delicious little babies, anyway. And they're so funny, with anybody not in that way. Oh, they're so funny, my delicious little babies. Well, Tim now, because there's Tim and there's Fake Nukes Phil, there we are, and there's Jim Roserli. Oh, they're so funny. And then they have like a call-in, okay, where, anybody, any mankind, can call in. And, they just ask, there we are, ask questions, you know what I mean, or have a little bit of a discussion. Oh, they're so funny, my delicious little babies. It's just really good, the conversation. Okay, my delicious little babies. Is it Fake Nukes Phil, is it? Who is, what did I hear in this video, that he's rated at the top? Is it on BitChute for or I could have been mistaken, I'm pretty sure I'm not. He's rated at the top for for mentioning things now then. My delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Of course, you've got, our, not only our dear Fake Nukes Phil and dear Jim Roserli and dear Tim, once again, not in that way, but you've also got our dear Mag, Bitter Truth, Next Level, all in capitals, happens to have 15.2 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, on YouTube, okay? I would have, I've got to be honest, I would have put them equally, neck and neck. I would have put them both in the same, okay, for the information that comes out with Fake Nukes Phil and Mag, bless them both, and bless the other Tim and Jim Roserli as well, okay? But yeah, they're really funny to, and what did, Tim's made up a new word. What did he call it? Oh, you'd need to hear it, my delicious little babies. Anyway, he's invented a new word. Okay, my delicious little babies. I'm pretty sure it won't take long, there we are, for others to catch up, there we are, and start using the same word, because, it's a bit like Peter the Parrot. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies, anyway. So, right, I come across, okay, my delicious little babies, this one here, this is why I'm repeating it. In the old space bar in YouTube, my delicious little babies, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, capital D and the rest in little writing, Davie, I'll spell it for you, Davie, and then the numbers, but it's all together. So it's the name and the numbers, 504. So it's Davie504. Now, I'll repeat this again. I came across your man here, not in that way, not in that way. I came across him when did he first? I took a look, 2011. Anyway, he ended up with 13.7 million subscribers, my delicious babies. Now, how would somebody get to, there we are, 13.7 million? My delicious babies. I think he's Italian. Talking Italian. Robert De Niro's waiting. Talking Italian. But somebody had mentioned to your man here to do with himself and Sylvester Stallone. He said, don't do it. You know what I mean? My delicious baby's a guy. Anyway, I thought let's take a look at some of his videos and see what's going on here. You know, why he would get to 13.7 million, my delicious babies. Please do not get me wrong. If that's what he's done and he's worked his way to get there, well, there we are. He's just worked his way to get there, hasn't he, my delicious babies? But it's like, he's all about the bass, no trouble. He's all about the bass, no trouble. You know what I mean? Who's that trainer? Is it Megan Trainer? Or could it be I'm a trainer? Do you know what I mean, my delicious babies? That word, trainer. Okay, my delicious babies. Anyway, so I thought I'd choose some of the videos. Okay, my delicious babies. So this video here was 6 years ago. And I wrote it down so that you can go to that video to see what I'm talking about, my delicious. But I think that was about 10 minutes long. And it should read, the title, Do I Have Coronavirus? Do I have coronavirus? Yeah, he's wearing a muzzle, my delicious babies, you know, which some may recognise, there we are, as a mask. Okay, my delicious babies, yeah. Because he's all about the bass, no trouble. He's all about the bass, no trouble. He's all about the bass, Do you follow me? Yes. Can't so bright them, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? Bright lights, mogwai. Do you remember that, my delicious babies, the Gremlins? Now then, my delicious babies, so, what year was that film? Now then, my delicious babies, and, you know, the dad was all about inventions, wasn't he? You know, these orange juice makers, you know, and all these things, you know what I mean? And, of course, you know, what happened? You couldn't put water or something on little Gizmo. I mean, it's a sweet little film, but, I mean, that flipping straps, you know, it could be a right nasty little bee, couldn't he, my delicious babies, anyway? They were just popping out everywhere, all these furry balls. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies, yes. Now then, there's another one of his, okay? And if you was to please and thank you, type it in, you know, so if you was to type in Davie504, then a space, stop finding my old photos. So it appears to myself, I mean, I never even watched it. I've got to be honest, my delicious babies, never even watched that one. It seems he was getting a little bit wrapped off with ones looking at his old photographs. For myself, there we are. I love looking at my photographs because, as I've explained previously, I do not very sadly have a lot of photographs of myself. But maybe, there we are, maybe I was only meant to have a certain amount. You know what I mean? My delicious babies, anyway. So he's clearly most upset, isn't he? You know, that somebody just wants to keep finding his old photographs. Anyway, my delicious babies, now the other one was 5 years ago. For some reason, I never put what year that was. And this is all the same uploader, Davie504. You know, and of course that comes to 9. You know what I mean? My delicious babies completion. Okay, this video, the title of it should read, This 5-year-old plays bass better than me? Question mark. I always put 2. Okay, my delicious little baby, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? This 5-year-old plays bass better than me. Okay, mad little babies, okay? And then finally, um, you know, obviously to type that in, please and thank you. Once again, should anybody happen to have any form of an interest with this same uploader, I'm sorry, being sued. I think this is only a matter of months ago. Mards Little Babies, he's been sued. Now, there's another one of his videos, Mards Little Babies, that, what was he saying? That YouTube wants to shut his channel down. All to do with copyright, you know what I mean? Mards Little Babies. Well, you know what the thing was? Is that I was actually going to put, you know, that song, History, by our lovely dear, the real Michael Jackson. Because, you see, for myself, Mards Little Babies, I never believed a word of it to do with our lovely dear Michael Jackson. No. I grew up with his records, everything. If you had seen Mards Little Babies, the record, there we are, collection that I had. And to be fair, these were all given to me. There's probably only a handful that were ever bought new. I had record after record with all different years, Mards Little Babies. Do you understand what I mean? And I grew up with our lovely dear Michael Jackson. Yeah, seems one seemed to be changing their opinion. There we are for some. Don't know, Mards Little Babies. She said some saying, because it never made any sense, especially when I look back to our lovely dear Michael Jackson, and may he rest in peace, or if he's still alive, bless him, you know, I hope that you're well wherever you are, dear Michael Jackson, bless you, you know, not in that way, not in that way. But wasn't he done showing all of us in the world, Mards Little Babies? There we are, years and years ago. He showed you Brazil. He showed you the muzzle, the mask. He showed you the umbrella, rella. He was done showing us all. Okay, Mards Little Babies, he was also showing where, you know, and he lightened his skin. He was showing everything, Mards Little Babies, okay? He could not have been more, there we are, could not have been more clearer. But maybe some were missing it somewhere. Maybe they were missing, do you know what I mean? What he was saying, bless him. And of course, if you look at his songs, you know, it's important to look at these things, Mards Little Babies. It don't matter if you're black or white. Do, do, do. You know, like, heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. Then you got that history. I cannot remember, I can't get it on my conveyor belt right now, Mards Little Babies, but history, you know, there's so much, there we are, that he was done telling everybody, do you see what I mean? But of course, as we very well know, when somebody passes away, then, you know, just figure of speech, but, you know, I won't say the other word, the claws come out, don't the Mards Little Babies, and then others are making ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. They jump on that gravy train. There we are. Do you know what I mean, Mards Little Babies? Yes. Now, the other one I want you to look at, please, Mards Little Babies, is this upload happens to have 19.3 thousand subscribers, okay? And he's called capital G in the old space bar in YouTube. Sorry, excuse me. Should anybody happen to have any form of an interest, Grand space capital P Prince space capital S Simon and then space capital C Karangi. I'll spell that for you. Caringr. Okay, so it should read all spaces Grand Prince Simon Karangi. Sorry, I never needed to stumble it. And this is just seconds long, Mards Little Babies, okay? And it just simply says simple things. Watch closely. Yes, Mards Little Babies, you know, you're looking at the barrel. Okay, there's two little empty, you know what I mean? And then this he, she, man, woman, comes walking up, then covers over their free card, Mards Little Babies. Okay, so it's some kind of film. But, you know, it seems to myself, Mards Little Babies, you know what I mean? But Mag's very good at that, Maggie's. Okay, my delicious little baby's Kai, he just breaks everything down for you. It couldn't be any clearer. Okay. And then, of course, you've got this one has this final one here has 74 videos, okay, and 139 subscribers. And this one's capital B in the old space bar on YouTube, Bob. You know, lots of SpongeBobs, isn't there? My delicious little babies all stumbling there, not changing my video, you know, in the alternative media. Lots of SpongeBobs. Okay, my delicious little babies, capital C, Choi. I'll spell it for you, CHOR. And this song here is Blowing in the Wind. So that's all you need to type in My Delicious Little Baby's Sky. I mean, you could, you know, type in Bob Choi and then, you know, but Blowing in the Wind, Stevie Wonder with lyrics. And it's this particular video that I'm wanting you to take a look at, My Delicious Little Babies. Do you understand what I mean? Yes. You know. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Oh, yeah. Okay, my delicious little babies. So I feel like that's enough for today, actually. Now, as it turns out, I'm not going to take this video down, my delicious little babies. Like I said, there we are. There was a reason for why I took down my video yesterday evening. I left it up. How long was it? By the way, this is not a code. I left it up, I think, 3 hours. Okay, I had 1 view and 1 like. So thank you. To whoever that was. Bless your beautiful, dear little soul. And thank you, not in that way, you know, because I love everybody. You know, not in that way. But thank you for any views, for any likes, for the occasional comment, yes. So I just left it up. There we are, just long enough. Do you see what I mean? My delicious little babies, yes. But yeah, I don't have any problem showing my photographs, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? As you could, well, usually on my photographs, I'm usually smiling. I think there's only a few where, you know, I'm not a liking. I'm not a very happy bunny. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? But for most, I'm super duper happy on my photographs, my delicious little babies. And yeah, so we're going to start to see many changes. Okay, my delicious little babies, and why's that now then? Because we're really seeing now, aren't we, my delicious little babies? We're really seeing the alternative media, aren't we? Okay. You know, maybe some would say, there we are, I've got my bitchy head on. Well, ones can think what they like about me, quite frankly. I couldn't give figures F. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, you know, I do this as a hobby. I do my little videos as a hobby. Do you know what I mean? And it's my channel. I can say what I like. But yeah, you're soon going to start to see. You see, what's happened is, my delicious little babies, you know, for those of my little beautifuls who listen to myself so very kindly. So once again, thank you. You see, ones are in the net. So I've seen this, there we are, long time. And what they do, they will never ever interview somebody, say, with a smaller channel, you know, or anything like this now then. And of course, I've noticed with some channels the numbers go up, and then I've noticed with other channels, you know, maybe that YouTube is not a liking, you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, that or you know, to whom it may concern, that other videos numbers just do not go up, my delicious little babies, meaning subscribers, okay, but it's all by design, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? Yes. But usually, there we are, they're the ones who tell the most, there we are, truth, isn't it, my delicious little babies? But anyway, let me just get back to this matter in hand just before I'm over and out. The fact of the matter is, my delicious little babies, that ones are really going to start to see, because like I just said, it's like they're all in their own little, there we are, network. You know what I mean? But of course, we're now starting to see, there we are, and it is unfolding. There we are, you mark my words on that. okay, that ones are starting, there we are, to see others. You know, not being nasty, but for what they really are. There we are, for what they really are. It's very, very interesting times, my delicious little babies, but I reckon going back to Davie504, it must just be the way that he does things. He was usually always serious, the way that he came across. That's from what I could see on a few of the videos, okay? And he was clearly, what do you call it, finding his niche a long time back. Okay, mad little babies, but probably what boosted his numbers was his old muzzle. You know what I mean? That probably. Ooh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Ooh, I get high with a little help from my friends. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies, Kai? So, yeah, there we are. We're now going to see, aren't we? But what we also see, my delicious little babies, is how many so-called journalists, how many do not even do the damn research. Not only the poxy box in the corner of the room, my delicious little babies, but also with, you know, many alternative media. But of course they'll Peter the Parrot. You know what I mean? But they'll parrot other things out. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, can? I mean, my thoughts are, if there was to interview, I would say, you know, smaller channels, but they're larger on other channels like BitChute and things like this now then, okay? Very sadly, we cannot see BitChute in our old England. But, you know, some others now, the alternative media, there we are, may even learn something. There we are, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. But it's good to watch. There we are. It's so good to watch, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean, okay? It's amazing, you know, when you got that network there, and then you find that, you know, you're gonna see, and you're already seeing it, you know, how some are like huddling like into, there we are, into a corner. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies, can. I've always said nobody would want to interview myself. There we are, because I'd just be done telling it. There we are, the way it damn well is. And I do not mince my words, not at all. But there's too much fakeness, you see. There we are. Too much fakeness. Okay? So that's what I say. It's amazing. Well, how this is going to unfold. There we are, isn't it? My delicious little babies. Then one shall see, there we are, what we are left with. Shan't we? My delicious little babies, yes. And one last thing, I'm getting totally peed off. You've got so many channels now, my delicious little babies, who all are talking about Epstein or Epstein, whatever his flipping damn well name is. I personally still believe he's alive. Yes, I do. And I even said the other day, because I always talk out loud in my flat, my delicious little babies, because the effing buggies can hear everything. Can't you? Little buggies. And, you know, and I said, he's probably sitting there, you know, sipping a pina colada, just like Charlie popped the cork. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? And they're probably just taking a complete pee out. There we are, taking a complete pee out of everybody, laughing their flipping socks off. There we are. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, yes. But then again, you know, ones have to ask themselves a question: why do they keep running the story? It's like the never-ending story. Oh, never-ending story. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? I'm not saying what's happened. I'm not saying what's not happened. You know, without being there, how would I know? But I tell you what I do say, my delicious little babies, just before I leave my video, I thank F-U-C-K, thank F for that I wasn't involved in acting or anything like this now, my delicious little babies. Who'd want that kind of life? Or being one of these top musicians, top actresses, actors. And even if you look at actresses, and actors, my delicious little babies, I class that myself, martyrish little babies, okay? I thought this years and years back. I thought, well, if they're married to somebody, okay, well, if they're having to play a part, because you must remember, we're all playing a part, okay, martyrish little babies, well, and they're having to kiss whoever they're working with on that set, for the film. Okay, my delicious little babies. Well, isn't that classed as being unfaithful if you're kissing somebody on screen, or doing these sensuous bits in the film? My delicious little babies. Can you see, there we are, how all this went, my delicious little babies? There we are, yes. So that's what I'm saying, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean, if you're going to kiss somebody, well, that is a very, there we are, special thing, isn't it? That's what I would have thought. If you're going to kiss somebody, it's a special thing. It's not, to be done in the way where, whatever film you're in, you kiss the fizzog, the bird race off whoever you're, playing the part with, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? There we are. Can you see how it went? There we are. My delicious little babies. That's all I'm saying. So, there's just little things that I'm just, there we are, pointing out. But I should imagine for most of the alternative media, they probably cannot stand me. Well, to tell you the truth, my delicious little babies, the feeling, there we are. And I'm so pleased I can say this. There we are. It's very mutual. There we are. Nobody ever likes somebody. There we are. If you speak the damn truth. There we are. Or you call something out. Nobody ever likes, you know what I mean? And there's probably others in the alternative media that'd love to hate me. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Well, there's a fine line between love and hate. Okay, my delicious little babies, so wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves, your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. And how I love you so, okay? And until my next video, it's just a little video, really, food for thought. Food for thought. Okay, so until my next video, love ya, take care, thank you for listening, goodbye.